Tim, thank you for your time.
Yes, you're very welcome.
How has your day been so far?
Yeah, really exciting. So we had a visioning exercise today with the community. So students, teachers, parents were all here talking about the future of the school.
Oh, wow. Lovely. Great. Your life and childhood have been marked with a lot of changes and numerous schools. If you would like to tell us a little bit more about your experiences being in different schools and being always the new kid of the block.
Yep.
So how was that?
Sure. Well, yeah, I changed schools many times when I was growing up, always within the United States, but between different states and between many different schools. And so I had the experience over and over again of entering a school. This was back in the 1970s. So this was during an age when not many kids were moving around this way. And so often I came into a school, it was very established. The friendship groups were already there. The students knew the teachers knew the students, but I was the new element. And so I got to see what it looks like to come into a school that's very welcoming. And I also got to see what it's like to come into a school that's much less welcoming. And I think then when I became an educator later in life, that really affected how I thought about how a school treats its newest students. And so particularly for an international school, this is a really important thing, how an international school is set up to welcome new students over and over again.
And your experience at the school, was that also your motivation becoming a teacher?
I think as a child, I didn't think about it that way. And I think as a child, I didn't really think about becoming a teacher. I thought about becoming an astronaut or becoming a doctor. But I think that later, those experiences made me realize that because I had seen many different schools, that being a teacher was something that I would bring a lot of understanding to. And so then I was a teacher for many years, and then later a school administrator.
And now you're the head of school of MIS.
True.
And what do you love about your job?
Well, I do love the job. I love coming into this place every day. It's an easy thing to love. We're the kind of school where kids are happy to come to school, where teachers are happy to be here. And we're the kind of school where I really believe that every student is learning. And so it's a joy to go from classroom to classroom and to see the different forms that learning takes, and to see both the educators and the students so eager and so successful in what they're trying to do. And so when there's that much success in one place, when there's that much energy, when there's that much happiness in one place, it's really hard not to love it.
I fully understand what you're saying. What would you say if we are now recruiting new teachers, new people for the staff? What is a unique selling proposition of MIS? Well,
there's more than one unique selling proposition. So I think two of the things that I really appreciate about the school, one of them is nature. So we're a 55-acre campus here in the middle of the woods, near the second biggest lake in Germany. It's green everywhere. There are so many opportunities to be outside. We have 6 different buildings, and we're often moving between those buildings, or kids and students are taking advantage of outdoor learning spaces, of sports fields, and of the woods. And so we're really immersed in nature here. So that's something that I really love about being here. Another thing is that we're a really well-established school with a really high caliber of teachers. And so there's a culture of learning and of appreciating learning and of loving learning, and that just permeates the entire place. And that's something that's easy, I think, for all of us to love, and I think it's really unique as a school for that to really be in every corner.
Do you think there's any challenging areas of the school?
Yeah, of course. I think there's always a bit of tension between the fact that we are located in this place. So we are here in Bavaria, in Germany, and we want to embrace being in this place. And at the same time, we're an international community. And so there's always a bit of navigating internationality and locality, right? And so those two things have to come together. And they never come together perfectly. There's always a little bit of tension between those two things. So you're a local German, I'm an international, and we're here together. And that's something that is a real, it's something really valuable about the school, but it's also a challenge that you constantly have to find new ways of dealing with.
You also live in Germany for quite a while, and you're also fluent in German. Are there still some points, areas, challenges where you think living in Germany or Bavaria is not easy every day?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think like any culture, Germany has specific ways of being. And sometimes those ways are wonderful, and sometimes those ways can be a little bit challenging. So it is a country of bureaucracy.
Yes.
Yeah. And bureaucracy helps ensure that things work a certain way, and it helps ensure that there's order. But it can also be a barrier sometimes to getting things done and to feeling comfortable. But you know, it's both positive and negative, and you have to deal with the positive. You have to deal with the negative to get to the positive.
Yes. Tim, you've lived in Germany for quite a while, and you speak fluently German. Is there still something that you find challenging being an expat here in Bavaria?
Well, I think anytime you're an expat anywhere, there are still some challenges, even when you've been there a long time, even when you speak the language. Yeah, in Bavaria, I find that Bavaria is becoming more and more international all the time, and I find that it's an open and accepting place. But Germans do love their bureaucracy, and they like their rules. You have to get used to not vacuuming on Sunday. Yeah, and knowing that there are times when things are closed down, for example, or when certain activities are unwelcome, and you have to get used to the bureaucracy. Yeah, so those are all things that can sometimes be a challenge.
What do you think is rewarding about living here?
Well, there are many things, which is why I've stayed such a long time. Like our campus, which is on a beautiful nature reserve. I really love the nature here. So you can see the Alps from my house. So I love the mountains, I love hiking, I love the lakes. And I also love the culture of Munich. So even though, you know, we're in nature here, we're only about a 15-minute drive to downtown Munich. And there are museums, concerts. Munich is a major stop for artists and for thinkers from around the world. So there are lots of opportunities to be part of really exciting events that are happening in Munich. So there's a lot to love here.
Fantastic. I can absolutely agree. Also, when I look out of my office here, we can see the Alps, which is absolutely beautiful, you know. And a lot of people say, you know, living and working in Bavaria is like being on vacation. You know? A lot of people come from other parts of the world to spend their vacation here, and we have the honor to live and work here.
Absolutely.
And I think this is also a unique selling proposition for MIS, right? What would you consider as maybe one of the most unique selling proposition?
Well, aside from the beautiful campus, which is really special, we have 55 acres of outdoor spaces and 6 buildings here on this campus. We spend a lot of time outside, including a lot of time outside learning. But also, I think we are a school that has a lot of teachers who are heavily invested in the practice of teaching and learning and in their students. And so it's a place where the school is quite high performing. And that's not because there's pressure from the board or pressure from me or pressure from the parents. This is really coming from the culture of the school, where we have a lot of teachers who are very invested in being excellent teachers. And so there's a culture of learning, there's a culture of performance, there's a culture of enjoying the interaction with students. And I think when new teachers come in, they feel that. I think they feel supported by it. But it's also a place for people who want to be a part of that kind of a high-performing environment.
Thank you very much. We also have prepared some small questions, and I would like you to answer with a sentence or a word. Starting with food, as Bavaria, they love its food. What is your favorite Bavarian dish?
Favorite Bavarian food? So I have celiac disease, so I can't eat the cake and the bread and all of those things, which I think are really lovely here. The pretzels smell amazing, and I think a lot of people really love those. When I can get a gluten-free schnitzel, that's something really special, and the schnitzel here is really, really lovely. So I love that. I also love the fresh things that are made here with apples, with other produce. I actually really love the asparagus. So there's a season during the year, and only during that season can you get white asparagus, so Spargel.
Yes.
And And unlike green asparagus, it has to be peeled.
Yes.
And then normally it's boiled.
Yes.
And then served with hollandaise.
Yes.
That is really lovely.
Yes. I think there's this special place in Schrobenhausen where they say, we have the famous asparagus ever. Is there anything you would not eat again?
Well, the biggest surprise was the time that I ordered something that was called sausage salad. And anything called salad, I expect to come with vegetables. But sausage salad in Bavaria is literally just a pile of sausage on a plate.
Yes.
So I've ordered that only once.
Okay. Yes. Regarding your favorite festival in Bavaria or a specific holiday event, what would you recommend others they have to go to?
Well, I'm not personally a huge Oktoberfest fan, although I really love taking our new teachers to Oktoberfest, which we do every year. It's a really special event, and I love introducing them to the chaos that is Oktoberfest. But my personal favorite is Christmas markets, but not the Christmas markets in Munich, but in the small Bavarian towns, often on just one weekend in Advent, they will have a Christmas market where some of the local farmers and some of the local craftsmen will have little booths where they're selling knitted hats and pickles and all kinds of things that they've made at home. And that's something really special. And you can walk around with Glühwein, with spiced mulled wine. And sometimes it's snowing because these towns also tend to be up in the mountains. And the people are happy to chat with you and tell you about the things they've made. And it feels really local and special.
Talking about Oktoberfest, that leads automatically to my next question, which is, do you have lederhosen?
Of course, I have 3 pair.
You have 3 pair?
Yes.
Okay.
I think as the head of school of Munich International School, you can't escape having lederhosen.
Lovely. You might know that Bavaria has over 600 breweries. What is your favorite beer?
Well, something that I really appreciate is that Bavaria has gotten very good at making alcohol-free beer. So the local beer that's called Helles, so the local light beer, although it's not light in the American sense, but it's a light-colored beer. The local Helles, there are a number of the local breweries who make an alcohol-free version, which is absolutely delicious.
It is. I also like that. And my favorite one is the Hacker-Pschorr. This is very good. Yeah. I also read that the number of selling anti-alcoholic beer is really increasing and the alcoholic beer is decreasing.
Even at Oktoberfest, I noticed how much alcohol-free beer they were serving. So I think that's a really positive thing. I'm not a teetotaler. I don't avoid alcohol at all costs. But I think if you're going to drink beer frequently, which actually I do now, it's good when the majority of it is alcohol-free.
Yes. Right. Yeah, it's good. What is your favorite season in Bavaria?
Well, I appreciate that Bavaria has seasons. So it has 4 distinct seasons and sometimes more than 4, depending on the year. I think my favorite season is spring.
What would you do in summertime?
Well, summer is getting warmer and warmer, so climate change is real and it's affecting Bavaria. So when I was a student here 30 years ago, I remember summer really wasn't hot. It might be warm, but it wasn't hot. Summers are getting hot, and so what's really lovely is that from my house I can walk down to the Isar, the river that flows through Munich, which is a fast-flowing alpine river with water coming down out of the mountains. And you can go down and swim or even just sit in the cool water, and it's a really lovely way to spend a hot summer day here in Bavaria.
And the water seems to be really cold, right? Because it comes from the mountains.
Yeah, cold and clean.
Yes.
I mean, everywhere you can always see the bottom of the river.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
That is very lovely, I think, also in Bavaria. Yes. So what are your activities in wintertime?
Well, we go snowshoeing. So we go up into the mountains. You can rent snowshoes. So if there's a lot of snow around, then we will go snowshoeing. But we also just do still a lot of hiking, even in the winter. So sometimes you can't go as high in the mountains because if there's a lot of snow, that's no longer possible. I'm not a skier, but I do sometimes go and watch the skiing because our students ski. So we have a school ski team.
Yes.
And we have ski Saturdays where teachers and parents and students go together in buses and they go skiing. And once in a while I go with them and cheer them on while they ski. But we also then, the winter is when we do more inside activities as well. So I belong to a film club.
Good.
And do a number of things. So there are a number of organizations. Our film club is in English. So there are a number of clubs in Munich that operate in English language. Yeah.
Wonderful. Is there a very strange thing you can think of when you came to Bavaria, where you were really surprised that that exists?
A very strange thing when I arrived in Bavaria. Well, I think I came to Bavaria initially as a student at university. And this will sound really strange, but I came with American experiences and US American assumptions. And so it was a surprise, first of all, that university was free. And then even more surprising was that it wasn't only free, but that as a student I was actually entitled to receive money to help cover the cost of living. And so I was going through what they call in German Behördengänge. So I was going to the different offices because I had to turn in paperwork and I had to prove who I was. And at one of the offices, they literally handed me some cash, and I refused to take it because I had I thought, why are you handing me cash? And it was because Germany supports education so strongly that not only are universities free of charge, but then depending on your situation, you may even qualify to receive money to live on while you study.
That is really
felt so foreign.
Yeah, that's true. That's sometimes we forget about how generous the German educational system is, right? Yeah. Is there anything on your bucket list that you want to do here in Bavaria that you haven't done yet?
Well, I'm a little bit of a fanatic when it comes to Ludwig II, who was the last emperor of Bavaria when Bavaria was an independent state from the rest of Germany. And of course, there are traces of Ludwig all over the place. Right? And I've been to Neuschwanstein, which is the fabulous castle that he built but didn't complete before he died. I've been to Hohenschwangau. I've been to Linderhof. So I've been to various castles that he made. But I haven't been to the Greek Acropolis that he built near Regensburg, I believe.
Yes, I've been there.
I haven't been there yet.
Absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
You should go there. And also his dad had created a kind of a Jagdschloss in the mountains where you can only go like for a 5 hours hike. And one of the rooms is in a kind of a very oriental style.
Yes, I know this.
Have you been
I've been there? Yes. That's here in southern Bavaria. Yeah. Whereas this Acropolis is more in northern Bavaria.
That is in northern Bavaria.
Yes.
But you have been to that?
I have been to this, yes. I rode a bicycle to it.
Oh, so
a mountain bicycle.
I was hiking there. But you did it with a bicycle?
With a bicycle, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then had a nice meal and then drove back?
And it has a beautiful view.
It is.
Yeah.
What's the name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
It's a hunting lodge.
It's a hunting lodge of his dad, I think.
Yeah, that's really impressive. And you have to take either a bicycle or a hike.
Absolutely.
Right?
I think I did that last summer, and it was absolutely beautiful. And
it's near Schloss Elmau.
It's near Schloss Elmau.
Yeah.
And this view is so great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Tim, thank you very much for your
You're very
time.
welcome. Yep, thank you
it
for
was
your
a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you.